Prapam Atma Samyam Tu Asatam Sudurlabam. Naitad Vichitra Manujarbhamayinam. Naitad Vichitram Manujarbhamayinam. Paravardhanam Paramasya Vedhasyaha. Paravardhanam Paramasya Vedhasaha. Aghopitat Sparshana Dhauta Pataka. Aghopiyat Sparshana Dhata Pataka. Prapatma Samyam Tvastam Sudurlabam. Prapatma Samyam Tvastam Sudurlabam. Naitad Vichitra Manujarbhamayinam. Paravardhanam Paramasya Vedhasam. Aghopiyat Sparshana Dhauta Pataka. Parapatma Samyam Tva Asatam Sudurlabam. Naitad Vichitra Manujarbhamayinam. Paravardhanam Paramasya Veda Saham. Agopiyat Sparshana Dhauta Pataka. Prapatma Samyam Tva Asatam Sudurlabam. Matajis? Na, not, etat, this, vichitram, is wonderful, manuja arba mayina, of Krishna, who appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, being compassionate upon them. Para avaranam, of all causes and effects. Paramasya vedhasa, of the Supreme Creator. Agha api, aghasura also. Yat sparshanam, simply by the slight association of whom. Dhautapataka, became freed from all contamination of material existence. Prapa, became elevated. Atmasamyam, to a body exactly resembling that of Narayana. But asatam sudurlabam, which is not at all possible to be obtained by contaminated souls. But everything can be possible by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Krishna is the cause of all causes. The causes and effects of the material world, both higher and lower, are all created by the Supreme Lord, the original controller. When Krishna appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, he did so by his causeless mercy. Consequently, for him to exhibit his unlimited opulence was not at all wonderful. Indeed, he showed such great mercy that even Aghasura, the most sinful miscreant, was elevated to being one of his associates and achieving Sarupya Mukti, which is actually impossible for materially contaminated persons to attain. Purport. The word Maya is also used in connection with love. Out of Maya, love, a father has affection for his child. Therefore, the word Mayana indicates that Krishna, out of love, appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj and assumed the form of a human child, Manu Jarbha. Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the creator of cause and effect, and He is the supreme controller. Nothing is impossible for Him. Therefore, that He enabled even a living being like Aghasura to attain the salvation of Sarupya Mukti was not at all wonderful for Krishna. Krishna took pleasure in entering the mouth of Aghasura in a sporting spirit along with his associates. Therefore, when Aghasura, by that sporting association, as maintained in the spiritual world, was purified of all contamination, he attained Sarupya Mukti and Vimukti by the grace of Krishna. For Krishna, this was not at all wonderful. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Svam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Naitad Vichitram Manucharbamaina Paravaranam Paramasya Veda Saha Agopiyat Sparshanadhauta Pataka Prapatma Samyam Tvaasatam Sudurlabam. Krishna is the cause of all causes, the cause and effects, the causes and effects of the material world, both higher and lower, are all created by the Supreme Lord, the original controller. When Krishna appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, he did so by his causeless mercy. Consequently, for him to exhibit his unlimited opulence was not at all wonderful. Indeed, he showed such great mercy that even Aghasura, the most sinful miscreant, was elevated to being one of his associates and achieving Sarupya Mukti, which is actually impossible for materially contaminated persons to attain. Here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the word Maya, is also used in connection with love. So out of Maya, love, a father has affection for his child. Therefore, the word Mayana indicates that Krishna, out of love, appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj and assumed the form of a human child, Manu Jarbaha. So very often we hear the conception, which is a wrong conception, that Krishna is partial, that Krishna is very partial towards only his devotees. Therefore, only who are his devotees, they can only receive the mercy of Krishna. But it is interesting to note, as Srila Prabhupada points out here, that this word Maya, it's used in connection with love. So many times when parent punishes the child, he's imposing that punishment. But that punishment is not because of some kind of frustration of parents' sense gratification, but that punishment is for the sake of rectifying and elevating that son or that child. So that is also a love. So in the similar way, Krishna is not just by dealing very nicely with the devotees, partial towards them, and therefore not dealing nicely with the demons, killing them, partial. He is actually equally disposed towards both of those, devotees and the demons. So then, by punishing the demons, by relieving them from their sinful type of mentality or sinful type of body, at least if nothing else, by relieving them from the body, he's postponing so many sinful activities that they might commit within that sinful body and receive the reactions for it. So that is also a mercy of the Lord. And therefore Maya, also an illusion, can be considered a mercy of the Lord, because when we don't embrace Krishna, then Srila Prabhupada points out that there is only a person, there is only a shadow, there is nothing in between. So if we are not with Krishna, then therefore we are with Maya. But then also being in Maya, it is also kind of a mercy of the Lord. Because material energy, her task is to rectify. Her task is to elevate the conditioned souls, which eventually will learn what the material energy is, and then will become more favorable towards Krishna again. So that is also a mercy, like somebody who is, what is material world compared to? It is compared to a prison house. So this is what material energy is, this is what Maya is, but what is it used for? It is used for rectification. So that's also a mercy. It's not a pleasant type of mercy, but it's also a mercy of the Lord. So then in connection with love, that's also love. Punishing is also a love. Sometimes if we can't learn in any other more higher kind of, softer kind of way, then there has to be some kind of other method through which one can learn a particular lesson. So in this way, material energy is keeping us so many different kinds of lessons. And they might appear very harsh, but they're harsh just because we don't want to learn. We are just very stubborn, and repeatedly we are trying to exploit that very same energy that belongs to God for our own gratification. And therefore material energy has to, it actually doesn't have a choice. This is the only way, this is the only method to rectify the living being. So here we see that the Lord's mercy and the Lord's love for living beings is actually unlimited. It can be bestowed in any particular way. So even to those who are not favorable towards Him. Like we can see, and we may say, what was Aghasura's contribution, what was Aghasura's attitude, what was Aghasura's some kind of benefit that he showered either towards or gave towards the devotees of the Lord or the Lord Himself. Actually, he didn't. He was very animically disposed towards Krishna and towards his friends, the coward boys, which he was intending to swallow. He was intending to kill practically all of them. But again, it's just Krishna's causeless mercy. What does it mean, causeless mercy? Causeless mercy means mercy which is not, you cannot earn that mercy. There is nothing you can do to deserve that mercy. So that's why it is causeless. But of course, that causeless mercy, it's not something that we should count upon. We should strive, we should try to gain the mercy by following the process which is given to us. So it's not just by Siddha Kripa that we can attain perfection only, that this is something that we await. This is something that is exceptional, it is something that is very rare. But by sadhana kripa, therefore, we attain the mercy of the Lord. Siddha kripa is just like somebody would have, let's say if you travel somewhere and you're in some particular place and there is some brahmana and you come to some temple, like when the bus party, for example, goes, and then they look for some place to stay, and hopefully and usually that's some kind of a temple there where devotees can stay. And then there is that temple there, and then it so happened that the pujari offered a sandhya bhog, and then he says, here is the whole plate for all of you, you can have it. And then devotees are very happy, they have immediately nice prasadam to take. So that's like Siddha Kripa. And then Sadhana Kripa would be that one comes to that particular place, and then that pujari offers different kinds of facilities. He said, here are the ingredients, here is the stove, here is the fuel, here are the pots, here is everything. You can make your own food. Sometimes it used to be that, like we know in the story of a Brahmana and in Caitanya Bhagavat, and the little Nimai, when Brahmana was cooking himself so many times. So sometimes also there is that standard that devotees would cook for themselves. So in that case, one prepares his own meal and benefits in such a way, or becomes nourished in such a way. So that is sadhana kripa. But sadhana kripa also, there is mercy involved within sadhana kripa as well. It's not that we can just think that only by sadhana kripa we can gain the benefit of certain performance. Because again, that place for cooking, the ingredients for cooking, the facilities for cooking, that is also type of mercy when it is provided. So we also see that, therefore, without mercy actually we cannot perform devotional service. We need mercy at every step. And therefore we should be very eager for that mercy. But when we perform certain type of offenses, what it means offense or aparad, it means to check that flow of mercy. Mercy is everywhere. Mercy is available. Devotees are just so eager actually to bestow the mercy upon everyone and anyone. But then while performing certain inappropriate activities, as we call them aparads, then this is something that it's checking that flow of mercy. And then what are we left with? We are just left on our own. And then how can we even perform sadhana? Because even sadhana, as we pointed out, is dependent on mercy. So we need mercy at every step. So it is the most essential quality or ingredient for the devotional practice. This is what mercy is. So we should be very, very eager to receive the mercy. We shouldn't be just hoping that, yes, I will be like Siddha Kripa, mercy will just come and I will become perfected, just like Aghasura. We can expect that type of blessing from Krishna. Krishna will just, liberate us. It is not going to happen because Krishna didn't liberate. We know in different other incarnations, Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita points out that other incarnations of the Lord, they didn't deliver demons that they killed. Varaha didn't deliver Hiranyaksha. Ravana also didn't deliver. But then appearing as Krishna, only as Krishna he gave that special mercy. And those demons got delivered. And interestingly, in Priti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami points out that the Lord, even sometimes if somebody is somehow trapped or found within the Brahmajyoti of the Lord, in that Sayujya Mukti, the Lord can even pull out that living entity for the sake of his pastimes. Of course, that is also not an often case. It's a rare case. Just like in the example of Jai and Vijay, Shishupal and Dantavakra, they were merged within the body of Lord, but then they could be pulled out for the sake of pastimes, and we know they came as a Jagai and Madai. So this kind of mercy, to expect just mercy to be causeless and bestowed upon us without endeavoring, it is something that is extremely rare, and therefore we shouldn't be expecting it just like it happened so to Aghasura. Aghasura received that mercy, but that was Krishna's will. He is said to be here. He is the cause of all causes. And everything in this material world, all the effects as such, are created by him. He is the original controller. So what he does, that it's just his own sweet will. And we cannot expect anything from him. We cannot demand, here it is, yes, I want to get liberation, I want this, I want that. We cannot demand, that is Krishna's sweet will. And therefore Aghasura received that mercy. As we have heard, he received that mercy, of course, because Krishna actually purified him by his presence, by his touch. Aghasura became liberated and became purified even before that. How? Because Krishna used his body. It said that the coward boys and Krishna, they used his body, it said earlier, for a long time, for 1 year, they were using it as a playground. So this is why Aghasura received such a causeless mercy, just by being in that kind of connection with Krishna. So for us to expect, maybe sometimes somebody may have the idea, oh, I can also just act in any way, even to such point that I can become a demon, inimical towards the Lord, and then at some point it will happen just like this, the Lord will also give me mercy, and like Aghasura I'll become liberated. So that's not a very good idea, to act like a demon and become a demon, because so many demons, as we pointed out, were not saved, and it's not necessary Krishna's going to come and deliver us. Not at all. So we shouldn't cultivate that kind of attitude at all. No. So Krishna has that ability. He actually creates the laws. He creates different kinds of rules and regulations. But this is all for our benefit. And as a creator, and as, like, for example, like a king or a prime minister or somebody who is heading the government, it's one can create certain kind of rules, but it's not necessary that one is also subjected to those rules, because one who has power to create, one can also create something different, something else. That's an exceptional power of that kind of position. So Krishna is not subjected to those rules. We know as Lord Ramachandra, he was very particular, following different types of rules and regulations. But as Krishna, that wasn't the case. So Krishna can also break the rules, but actually even that breaking of the rules, it's particular other exceptional rule in itself. So Krishna can do whatever he wants. So he can give the mercy to anyone, whoever might not, as Aghasura, for example, here, appear to be qualified for it. Yeah. Just like there are some mundane examples. Just some months back I heard, for example, that that used to be the case earlier, and seems like it's the case, and it's going to remain the case, that the President of the United States has the power to pardon someone for any kind of, for example, inappropriate action that they have done. So they can be pardoned. So then the President can make someone pardoned as such. That person can become excused from whatever. President has that kind of power. So then there was the case of Edward Snowden, the whistleblower. So I don't know if he pardoned him or not. But the President has the power. At least it was some discussion about it. And then some centuries back, the Queen and King of Spain, they pardoned certain sailors for actually prisoners on the boat of Christopher Columbus. They were prisoners, but they were pardoned. Of course, they were thinking anyway, they're going into unknown, and as that time people were considering if the earth is flat, they'll just disappear, so there's no loss. What does it matter? So they kind of pardoned them. But they also, when they achieved whatever they were hoping to achieve, then they received the benefits. Or there is a French legion. You may be any kind of criminal, whatever, but if you enroll in it, later on you get all the benefits of the France, and you get a French passport or this and that. So there are certain kind of rules that are made by certain governments that might not be an ordinary kind of or regular type of laws or practices. But they are exceptional in some ways. So to counting for mercy just without any kind of endeavor, it's not something that is advisable. We have to perform this sadhana. We have to seek that mercy of the Lord. Because it's not just the mercy will somehow or other manifest, Krishna will manifest the mercy, and we will become immediately pure devotees of the Lord. We will become liberated. Because liberation, it's not, even ordinary liberation, it's not an easy task to achieve. It's not an easy thing. It's not just that one can just become free from the material sufferings so easily. But of course, very powerful method given to us is chanting. It is explained, Srila Prabhupada explains that just by chanting Nama Bhasa, one is immediately situated on the position of liberation. One is liberated from material sufferings. Just by Nama Bhasa. But then, that's not good enough. Because Nama Bhasa, or that kind of liberation, desired by impersonalists, and even which demons achieve, so then we can see both of them, they achieve the same type of result. Then what is the difference? There's no difference. So then why desiring anything such, which even demons achieve? It's just waste of all the effort and the time. So that can so easily be achieved by the devotees, just by chanting, inattentive chanting even, just by Namabhasa. Liberation is already achieved. Of course, but there is a problem with it because it's not good enough. It's not good enough because we need love of Krishna. We have to achieve that. And love of Krishna is achieved how? By pure chanting of the holy name. So we have to endeavor for that pure chanting of the holy name. So there are two types of liberation basically. So one is this kind of general achieved liberation, achieved by the inattentive chanting. And then one is when one endeavors or at least actually achieves the mercy of someone who already has the mercy, or already somebody who has pure love of God. Because actually bhava, one cannot achieve, even prema, unless he has been given that by someone who has it. Somebody who is possessing already that love of God and has given that to us. So one cannot achieve that by its own endeavor. So then the differences between those two also, that one still, even in the ordinary type of liberation, maintains that Purusha Bhav, conception that I am the controller, because by my endeavor, I have achieved the Supreme Brahman, I have merged, so that Brahman is subservient to my practice, so therefore I'm the controller, and I'm also enjoyer of that Brahman, I'm enjoying that liberation. So that's also Purusha Bhav, that's a contaminated conception of consciousness. So one is not fully liberated. So this is compared, it's just like, we may think, because of our imperfections, Srila Prabhupada gives example, it's just like a plane when it flies into the sky and then it disappears. And we may think, oh, the plane has merged, it's gone. But it's not, this is our imperfection, perfection of our sight, to perceive that difference that still exists between the plane and the difference between the sky. So that's our imperfection. It's not that the plane has, just disappeared somewhere. And it's not that the plane will remain in the sky. You may say the plane has, taken off, and the plane it's flying, it has become freed from the earth's gravity, so to say, it has left the earth. But how long can the plane keep on circling around and going around? It cannot be forever. At some point it will end up out of its fuel, and it has to land somewhere. It has to come back, maybe even to the same place. So in the similar way, that impersonal type of liberation, it's not good enough. One may take off for some time, but again, because it doesn't achieve the lotus feet of Krishna, one has to fall down. One has to come back. And then as we see in the cases of impersonalists, then they become very active in performing materialistic activities and performing different kinds of welfare activities, opening hospitals and so on. So one again lands down. One flies, but then it has to land down. So then how to become free from this Purusha Bhav? It is only by performing devotional service as a Naishkarmya or Nishkam Karma in that particular way. That means without desire for any result. And even higher level of it, with a desire to please Krishna. This is then the level, the process of devotional service. So then only one can really hope to gain the love of Krishna, to achieve that kind of liberation, which is then eternal type of liberation, which is the best type of liberation in association with Krishna. Otherwise, then we remain still trapped within this material existence, and yes, experience the mercy of the Lord in a not such a pleasant way, in much more rougher way, in much more restricting and rectifying, as we pointed out, way. So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham evanukarpantam mama jnana aham agyana jantamaha. So that actually my real mercy is that by the knowledge I destroy the darkness of ignorance. By that knowledge, which is compared to a light, I destroy the darkness of ignorance. So it's by the knowledge. So therefore, if we have the knowledge of understanding of our position of Krishna, then we can hope for that ultimate goal of life, which is prema pumarto mahan. It's not just enough, again, to achieve some kind of liberation, which is beyond dharma, artha, kama, so aiming for that kind of moksha. That's not sufficient. One has to go beyond that. And this is special contribution and special mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. It's interesting that even when we don't qualify for the mercy of Krishna because we have to fully surrender, then actually we may hope, but of course that's not going to happen either, but we may hope for the mercy of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But that also one has to somewhat be qualified. May hope for mercy of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But actually even greater mercy that can be achieved is by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. But then even Lord Nityananda, of course, it's so far from us, we are so disqualified that actually we can only hope pretty much for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. That's our only hope. That's our only hope. There was one devotee, his name was Jai Gopal. He left the body in a car accident. And then to console his wife, Srila Prabhupada said that he has gone back to Godhead. And that's how other devotees perceived it. Prabhupada just said it just to console her. Prabhupada didn't really meant that he went back home, back to Godhead. And then actually later on, Danavir Maharaj, he wrote a book in which he explained the whole pastime, that he said that actually Srila Prabhupada pointed later on that Jai Gopal wasn't really qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, but just because of Krishna's exceptional mercy, he had gone back home, back to Godhead. But actually, why Krishna gives that exceptional mercy? It's not just because of, again, some kind of causeless mercy. It is because Jai Gopal was connected to Srila Prabhupada. So if we are connected to Srila Prabhupada, then we can hope to receive Krishna's mercy. Then we can actually hope to receive Lord Nityananda's mercy. Then we can actually hope to receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And then we can hope to receive Krishna's mercy. Otherwise it's not possible. Because Caitanya Mahaprabhu, there's one interesting story. He gave his mercy. Of course, there are many interesting stories. He gave his mercy to various devotees. He gave his mercy to Kalidas. Kalidas was one very, very elevated, pure devotee of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was so eager for receiving the remnants of all other devotees. And he would give them some prasadam, and then he would just wait when they would leave any remnants, and then he would go for that somehow or other by any means. He would try to grab those remnants. But then there was another very exceptional, very great devotee of the Lord, Jadu Thakur, who was not of a Brahminical background. He was of a very low type of background. And then Kalidas was still somehow hoping that he will receive the remnants of that devotee as well. And then he was trying to persuade Jadu Thakur that please give me your mercy in such a form. But then Jadu Thakur reclines, saying that I'm not like you're so fortunate, you're from such a wonderful high background, and you're so learned, and you're so humble, and everything. But I'm of the low birth, and how can this be possible? How can I give you my mercy? But then Kalidas was persisting, saying that the Vaishnava is even greater than a Brahmana, and the Vaishnava, he can become the guru of the whole world, and the great devotee, it's much more greater than anybody else, and he was praising the position of devotional position. But then Jadu Thakur replied, he said, I'm not even a devotee, so I don't even qualify, I don't come even in that category. So then everything seemed hopeless. But then somehow Kalidas, he arranged for some mangoes, and he presented to Jadu Thakur, and when Jadu Thakur took them and went in his hut, then Kalidas immediately took dust from the place where his lotus feet were stepping upon, and he was rolling in ecstasy. But then he left quickly and hid himself to see what the Kalidas will do with those mangoes. And of course, he honored them with his wife, and then she placed them behind the house. And Kalidas was watching everything hidden from the forest. And then at night time, he came to that very place, and then with relish he was sucking the remnants of that mango and the peels and everything, and enjoying the transcendental ecstasy. So he had such kind of an attitude. And so knowing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would often go to Jagannath Puri temple, to Jagannath temple, and he would wash his feet. And it was a strict rule, nobody was allowed to touch that water which was washed. Which washed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet. But then Kalidas approached, and then he, with his both hands, he took a big scoop of water and he drank it in front of everyone. And then everyone was amused, watching, what is going on? How is it possible? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't allow animal. How could he dare to do so? And then again, he did it second time. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't say anything. And then again, he did it the third time. And everyone was shocked. And then again, he tried for the fourth time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, now that's enough. You got enough mercy. That's enough. So then, Kalidas was again still pursuing with his devotional practice as such that once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him through the window, looking when he was honoring prasadam. And then he pointed to Govinda, okay, he's waiting for the remnants, go out right now, give him a plate of prasadam. So he received so much special mercy of the Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him the mercy. Interestingly, he also gave the mercy to one sannyasi, who actually was even earlier, who was praising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh, here is the Nimai Pandit, such a great Brahmana, such a wonderful personality, such an amazing person. I give you the blessing that, you become wealthy, you have a wonderful wife, and have a long life. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, what, this is a curse, what kind of blessing is this? And then Brahmanas, this sannyasi said actually, oh, you see Kali Yuga, how people are ungrateful. They don't... But then Lord Nityananda stepped in and said, no, this is, you don't understand, Nimai. I know, you don't worry about it. Actually, he's very appreciative. So Lord Nityananda could understand the ways of fallen. So then he invited, being pacified as such, he then invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda to his home to serve them some food, some prasadam. And then when they went to his home, then they found out that sannyasi has a wife, and she was cutting the fruits and offering them the fruits, and they were saying, what is this? But still, there was again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So they both sat down, and then the sannyasi, as the final offering, he thought something final, something the best. He said, would you like to taste some Ananda? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was wondering, what is that Ananda? And then Lord Nityananda understood again, oh no, he's offering some liquor, some alcohol. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jumped immediately and rushed through the door and ran to the Ganga, and in their clothes they both jumped into the Ganga. So still, visiting the place and taking some fruits, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his mercy. But of course, even more than that, the mercy of Lord Nityananda, it's much greater. Lord Nityananda doesn't consider absolutely any kind of qualification. He just freely distributes his mercy to everybody else. So that is even greatness of Lord Nityananda. Anyway, time is running, so that's Nityananda. But even more so, as we pointed out, is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Once one devotee, he said to Srila Prabhupada that, please give me the mercy so I can follow your instructions. And then what did Srila Prabhupada replied? Anybody knows? My mercy is that I've given you my instructions. That is my mercy. And then one devotee, Srila Prabhupada heard of his not such exalted practices, and he was talking to that devotee, and he was talking to another devotee who was on the phone with this devotee, and he said, Srila Prabhupada said that actually tell that devotee that unless he starts smoking ganja, that actually I will reject him. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there, and he inquired from Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, really you would reject him? And then Srila Prabhupada said, of course not, I wouldn't reject him. But then Tamal Krishna Maharaj pointed out, but there must be some limit. There must be some, there must be some limit. And then what Srila Prabhupada replied, he said, the mercy of Lord Nityananda is unlimited. It's unlimited. So this is the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And this is the mercy of the great devotee of Srila Prabhupada, as Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada also once, in 1971, in Malaysia, he was visited by one wealthy Indian lady. She was actually wife of one of the ministers there. And she was showing interest for Krishna consciousness, and then Srila Prabhupada was trying to encourage her. And then Srila Prabhupada showed her the draft, the sketch of the Vrindavan 3 altars. And he was hoping that she would contribute something. And then what was she replying? She was kind of backing down. She was saying, she was shying away from it. She was saying, oh, it's your mercy. It's your mercy. By your mercy it will happen. And Prabhupada said, yes, this is my mercy. He was showing the drawings and everything. This is my mercy, that you can become engaged in this particular project and gain that mercy. But then, no, she said, by your mercy it will happen, by your mercy it will happen. So then Prabhupada made a comment, it's just like showing somebody, giving somebody a rope, but that person not taking to that rope. Then what is the use? Then what else I can do about it? So therefore we have to take to the mercy. Srila Prabhupada's instructions are the mercy. Krishna has given us the mercy through his representatives, through his devotees, through the spiritual master. Mercy is there, mercy is everywhere. But we have to take up to that mercy. So we have to endeavor. So it's not that we just kind of hope or actually even sometimes maybe count upon Siddha Kripa. No, we have to perform sadhana, because even sadhana, as we pointed out, it consists of so much mercy. We have to take that mercy. Otherwise then, how can we advance in the spiritual life? We cannot just hope I will become like Agasura or something else, and that is, Krishna's mercy will come. Krishna's mercy is there, yes, but we have to still endeavor for it. We have to endeavor. It's not just enough to hope for it. Because even hoping for it, we have to place ourselves in circumstances where that mercy will be granted, where that mercy will be delivered. Hare Krishna. Okay, any comments or questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, some type of liberation, which type of liberation we get after reaching in Vaikuntha? Some type of muktis are there in...
Well, there are 4 types of liberations which could be acceptable by devotees. Sarupya, Samipya, Salokya and Sarshti. Living on the same planet, having same opulence, same form, and being friendly with the Lord. So that's on Vaikuntha, but not Sayuja, because Sayuja is temporary. Sayuja type, it's again, one doesn't achieve practically anything. It's temporary. It's just cessation of material suffering. And ultimately one has to come back, so there's no use of it.
Sayuja is a Brahma Jyoti liberation.
Yes, it's a Brahma Jyoti.
And what
or
about
sometimes even merging in the body of the Lord. Mahavishnu, merging in the body of Mahavishnu. After the universe is annihilated, it's the same. But one still has the desires and one still has to come back. So you may merge even in the body of the Lord, but then what is the use? You have to come back. You have to receive material body again.
And what about that who enter into Golok Vrindavan? Or
Those who enter into Golok Vrindavan, they don't desire any type of liberation. That's why they enter into Golok Vrindavan.
can we say that it is like Samipya or
They're
Sarup?
just fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays in Siksartaka, whatever, you reject me, you embrace me, whatever, it doesn't matter, I'm eternally yours, I'm completely surrendered unto you. It doesn't matter. Another example, Srila Prabhupada talks about the Chataka bird. Chataka bird just wants the mercy of the Lord. I mean, like a devotee wants just the pure water from the cloud. Even sometimes it is hit by the thunder, it doesn't mind. It will never take the water from the ground. Just wants the pure mercy. So even sometimes, devotee may undergo all kinds of thundering purifications, but it will never, desire anything separate from Krishna. So just pure devotional service.
Mukti is not pure devotional service?
Mukti is what?
Mukti is not pure devotional service?
Mukti is not pure devotional service. No, it's not.
And that when go into Vaikuntha, are they get their constitutional?
Well, they have bhakti also. So those different types of other liberation, they are in relationship to Krishna. So then they are acceptable, but we have been given something that is so exceptional, something that is so rare, something that is so wonderful, that it's even beyond those 4 types of liberation. It's so much more intimate in relationship to Krishna. So that's far greater than even those 4 types of liberation. So that's another exceptional mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and Srila Prabhupada. Okay?
One more question, Prabhuji. Are they get their constitutional position after getting liberated in Vaikuntha?
That is their constitutional position. That is their constitutional position. That kind of liberation is their constitutional position. And generally it's said that once one achieves that kind of liberation and any kind of position beyond material existence, that's something that one is completely satisfied with. And in generally, again, he doesn't desire to change that to something else. Just like Hanuman would never desire any kind of other position but service towards Lord Ramachandra. There is an option, you may do it, but in general it doesn't happen. So if they achieve that kind of liberation, then they are satisfied with that kind of liberation. Okay?
So it is not depend on us that what kind of mukti.
Well, when you come to that point of purification, then you start realizing what your position might be and desiring that. So therefore you achieve it.
Thank you.
Okay, we will stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanande.